Sylvia and me.
Sylvia and
Sylvia and me. Sylvia and
Sylvia and me.
Sylvia.
I look at the work and the impact that one woman can have, and how it can radiate and reverberate and live on. And, it should give us all encouragement and hope that we should never, ever stand back when we want to do something.
Hi, I'm Sylvia Beckerman, host of the podcast series Sylvia and Me. Conversations with inspiring, empowering women.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mary Barneby. I've recently retired from a very long career in the corporate and nonprofit worlds, and I'm loving retirement. I call it rewirement. And I'm so thrilled to be today with Sylvia at Sylvia and Me.
Mary, thank you so much. And I must say, third time's the charm. So were the other two times. You were one of my first guests back in 2019.
Wow, I remember it well.
At that point, you were the CEO of Girl Scouts of Connecticut. And then in 2022, you were the regional CEO of the Red Cross, the American Red Cross. And the thing is that both of those organizations were started by women who were in their 50s and 60s. Juliette Gordon was in her 50s. And Clara Barton was in her 60s.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so what they've done, what they've proven is that there's no stopping us, and there's no reason to stop. And there are two quotes that I want to read. The first one is from Juliette Gordon, and she wrote, "Today I'm going to do something for all the girls in the world. The work of today is the history of tomorrow, and we are its makers."
Mm.
And, she was talking about young girls.
Yes.
And not being marginalized and moving on in the world. And then Clara Barton, you must never think of anything except the need and how to meet it. Words that really are, something to live by. And one of the things that you talked about when you talked about the Red Cross was the fact that the Red Cross was all about hope. And I think both of those organizations were all about hope, giving hope and seeing where young women, yes, the Red Cross wasn't just women, it was, helping just about everyone in need, but giving us the direction, the hope of what tomorrow could bring, what today can bring. So you had a huge career prior to Girl Scouts, and then you were in Girl Scouts, and the Red Cross came to you at a time when you were still working, but you were thinking of retiring. Can you repeat what you told me, your reason, what really went through your head when you realized that, maybe you shouldn't retire and pass?
Well, it's true. I was at the Girl Scouts for quite a while. And by the way, I just want to say, Sylvia, that you just gave me goosies when you talked about those two women, because I look at the work and the impact that one woman can have, and how it can radiate and reverberate and live on. And, it should give us all encouragement and hope that we should never, ever stand back when we want to do something and we're inspired to do something. So I was at the Girl Scouts, loving it. Just inspired me all the time. And I thought I would stay there a few more years and retire. But then when I was recruited to go to the Red Cross, I thought to myself, what advice would I give to a young girl who was offered an opportunity to do something that would stretch her and that would make her stronger and have the opportunity to give back more? And so I said, I would tell her to do it. And so I did. I decided to make the leap and go from a place I loved and a position that I really enjoyed having for 8 years. And I went over to the Red Cross of Greater New York. And I have to say, I'm so glad that I did it, because it was a challenge. I had gotten to a place at the Girl Scouts where, I had my challenges, but everything was kind of moving along in a good way. And then I went to the Red Cross, and it was in the middle of COVID. It was a totally, challenging time for everybody, but especially for an organization that brings relief to people who are, having emergencies and crises in the worst time of their lives, maybe in some cases losing their homes. And that was actually, a great way for me to kind of keep my brain and my soul and my energy, kind of moving along. And so I'm really glad that I did that. And I guess I might even still be there, but in 2022, I was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer, and had the benefit of having great medical care, and got through it while I was working. But then I thought to myself, okay, maybe now I better, take advantage of the fact that I have good health and see what the next chapter is going to bring. So that's where I am right now.
Well, as you said, the next chapter. So you actually, one of the great things when you were talking about, when we connected again, and you were talking about all the things you were doing, you were saying you were living the life of Après. And that's really, there's, people say, oh, I'm in this chapter, I'm in that chapter, I'm in, this journey, that journey, but they're endless. They can be endless. And that is something that you, by doing, because I can't think of the word right now, you are showing these young, we could go back to the young girls at Girl Scouts, what they're capable of, what there is no reason to stop if you have your health and you're moving on. And so tell us a little bit, because I know I ran out and I bought a book that you wrote. You wrote a book. You wrote a children's book, My Blue Heron. Where did that come from, and why? Had you done writing? I know you spoke, and running these organizations, you were probably up there and writing whatever you needed to write, come up, but you wrote a book for children.
Well, we all have deep inside us these things in our life that we, that are, I don't know, they're there, and they're kind of like maybe dormant. And when I was 7 years old, I wanted to be a writer, and I would go to the library and I'd take out all the books I could. And I had this image of myself, having, in those days you didn't have computers, so having like a typewriter and writing books, and maybe smoking cigarettes and being an author. And
At 7?
I think so. I had this image of this Greenwich Village kind of thing going on, and I never got to do that. That was always inside me. I guess I had to do business writing, and I had to do other things. But writing is my creative outlet. And that's why when I decided to retire, I said, now I'm going to do the little things, the passions that have been tucked away, and give myself the opportunity to really have the time and to really have the pleasure of indulging myself. So for my book, here it is, ta-da, My Blue Heron, I can't see it. I just have always developed, I've always lived near water, and I love being near the water. And I really began to think about conservation when I was living up in Connecticut, especially by the Long Island Sound, and protecting the environment there, not just because it was important for us when we had a storm to be able to protect the flow of water, but also the wildlife living there. And so I had a visit this past summer from my nephew and his 3 little ones, and I took my 2 little grandnieces for a walk and was showing them the marshes and showing them how I feed the birds. And I just love this idea of, because I really believe that children and our young people have got to be aware of how important it is to protect our environment. We kind of, the people in our generation have really not, done enough to really acknowledge that, there are things that we could do better to keep our environment safe. I'm also writing another book for middle grade students on wetlands conservation, because that's my dog. Wetlands conservation, because I really, believe that, we have to do a better job of getting young people to be more activist in terms of the things that they do and the things that they care about. And I also became an ordained wedding officiant. And has been another one of those little tucked away things that I've always wanted to do. I've gone to so many weddings, and we all have. And I think there's nothing more beautiful than a couple standing up there who are professing their love. And I have to tell you, I've done 32 weddings this year, and every couple is different, and it's just a joy. So those are some of the things that I've been doing, in addition to taking better care of my body and walking and trying to eat more healthy and to stay healthy. So I'm busy with doing these things that I never had the chance to do before. So it's a joy.
And that's it. You're getting to do things that you never had a chance to do before. But in doing this, did you ever feel that you didn't give yourself the chance to do those, that maybe working the way you were working was stifling you, or is it something where it's joy now? Yeah,
I mean, I loved working. And when I was working, And, of course I have, we have kids and grandkids and all those other things in life, and balancing all of that, as we all do, is always a challenge. So I didn't have really time to even indulge some of these things that I've been always wanting to do. But I think that, work was great. I mean, I never regretted it. And I think we all have to come to this place where we're ready, we're ready to move. And there's a book I read a long time ago called Don't Retire, Rewire. And I was ready to rewire myself a little bit, because I needed this for the next, chapters of my life. I always like to think, I always thought of my life in thirds, 1 to 30, 30 to 60, 60 to 90, and then who knows, right? But I'm in this last third right now. And I'm not morbid about that, but I just feel like, it's now time to give back to me what I really would like to do. But I enjoyed everything else that I did. I mean, I had wonderful career and wonderful opportunities to work with great people and do things that I really enjoyed and make a difference. But I also now say, okay, now I want to be in a place where it's about what I want to do and when I want to do it and how I want to do it. And feels good, feels pretty good.
Well, again, that's something that a lot of people don't understand. Some people go through life feeling, poor me, I didn't get to do this, or I didn't get to do that, and I didn't get my dream live, and don't allow themselves, once their career has really hit a plateau, to say, gee, you know what, all those other things that I was thinking about, now I get to enjoy them without anything else on top, with no other responsibility. This is
right.
my time.
And not trying to jam them in, because then you won't enjoy what you're doing at work, and you won't enjoy what you're doing in terms of these what my husband calls my projects. But yeah, you want to give yourself the latitude and the freedom, whether it's working, whether it's, doing something creative after you decide to retire, just to give yourself the latitude to do it in a meaningful way, and not feel like you have to squeeze it in, because then you're going to be unhappy. You're going to be unhappy with everything in your life, and you're going to feel cheated. And I think that's what you don't want to get to, is a place where you feel like cheated. And then if you do have a health issue like I did, it's kind of a wake up call to say, okay, I'm fine now, I'm cancer free, but also, if I don't want to be carried out of work in a body bag either, there has to be something in between. And also, my husband retired, and I think It's nicer to, although it was a little scary to think that we'd be together 24, although we went through that at COVID. So we met, we figured we could handle it. But I think that, that's another thing too, that, just making sure that if you do have a partner in your life or family or other people, that you can give yourself the privilege and the opportunity and the permission to have more time with those people as well.
And that's it, to give yourself permission. And so many people don't know how to do that, to actually be able to sit back and enjoy what they've worked so hard for.
Yes, that's true. That's really true. And it's interesting too, because some people, I know this is true. I worked in the financial industry, and some people like to keep score of how much money they make, and that's fine. If that's their thing. But to me, like it's not so much about that, and it's not what you have or the car you drive. It's really about, the life you live and how that life, what that life means to you. And I think that's an important thing for people, not just women, but men and women to think about. We all know that cliche about, well, when you're on your deathbed, what are you going to regret that you didn't do? But it's true. I think there's really a lot of truth to that. And I think we're lucky because people in our age generation we have better, healthcare. We can maybe live a little longer. And let's face it, we all want to live longer, but healthy. And I think that's another thing where stress sometimes, can do a lot more to hurt us than even physical damage. So I think
stress is a killer. And you're right, even more than physical. Yes, there's health issues that you can't overcome, but stress itself, people have no health issues, but they're stressed out, and that will destroy anything they're doing. So we're talking about, you and I are in a situation where we're of an age where we kind of get to have fun doing what we're doing. You're doing something, you thought about this, you knew from the age of 7 you wanted to. I'm doing something that, for the heck of me, I never thought of.
I know, but it's amazing that you've been doing this for 5 years. It's incredible. And, and you've just made such an impact and been such a great voice for women. And it's been great.
Thank you. The point I was making or trying to make, is the fact that so many people don't take the time to step back, even if, working is something that they have to do. Take the time to step back and take a look at your life and see what else you might want to do. Maybe you can fit it in here or there, but we are at a stage where, as you said, we're living longer, and we want to live healthier. We want to do something that used to be called vanity, and that is take care of ourselves. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, then all of a sudden we're a burden on somebody else.
Right. That's right.
And taking care of yourself is important. So it's not vanity. It's really, in a lot of ways, it's selfish in a good way.
Yeah, because we've especially since a lot of us have been mothers, and if not mothers, we've taken care of family members or the people that work for us, and and it's like a good time to say to yourself, okay, I really now, like, it's true even with our kids, it's like there are times where I just like, okay, it's your life now, go. And it's time for me and my husband to be able to take our time and enjoy the things that we enjoy, because we worked hard, and and it's, if we don't do it now, when? And I think that you have to get over that guilt too. And I think you alluded to this, to say, it's okay. It's really okay if you want to. And the word selfish isn't a bad word, because it means that you're paying attention to your needs, whether they're physical health, whether it's creativity, whether it's, I know you went on a yoga retreat this year. I saw your postings on Facebook. And I said, good for you. That sounded so fabulous. And, I think that that's the kind of stuff that, we have to set priorities about. We have limited years. We have our health is okay, as long as our health is okay, but we do have to take care of ourselves. And we have that, that retirement nest egg that's not going to last forever. So, we have to make sure that we are spending that money and that time on the things that we have earned, the privilege of kind of indulging in at this point in our lives, I think.
I agree. And you also mentioned you and I are both mothers. We have children, we have grandchildren. Yeah. And there are people who are not married, do not have partners, do not want to have partners, who have friends, and that's their family. And that is fantastic. And that's their support system. And having that just makes life so much, the word's better. I mean,
Yeah, and not neglecting that, because I think COVID made us so isolated. And even though you might have kept up with your friends and loved ones, you still didn't have that, physical opportunity, the hugging thing and all of that going on. And I think that, it's really a time when you really want to look back at the people who are important in your lives, whether it's women friends, whether it's family members, or whether it's, just anybody in your life, and kind of get rid of the people in a way that you had to sort of spend time with,
or the
for
ones
whatever
that
reasons.
Right,
Yeah.
that were weighing you down. It's a good time to reflect and really say to yourself, wait a minute, this person here really, it's just not healthy. I don't feel good even when I say, if I know they're going to call, it's not a good feeling. Well, at some point in your life, you have to just finally say enough, because the number of friends or the number of people who care for you, again, just like age is a number, it's what you're doing with it.
Yep. And reevaluating like where you're going to spend your time, because it's very valuable. Even though I have more time now because I'm not working in the way I was, I want to make sure that I'm spending my time doing the things that are important to me, and that I'm making time for the people in my life who are important to me as well. So it's really, you have to do it. You just have to make those decisions.
It's funny because there are so many I've seen on social media and whatnot, these empty nester groups, and they're oiving about, oh, what are they going to do? Oh, I'm so sad. There's no one home. I mean, to me, it was, what do you do? I don't have to remember that, oh, wait, I forgot to feed the kids, or, what time, or, hey, really, yes, you might be 18 years old. You're living in my house. Where are you tonight? It's like, it's those types of things where we can finally sit back and say, okay, I did whatever I could. It's my time. And it goes with not just being an empty nester, as we talked about. Some people aren't empty nesters because they don't have, well, maybe they have, I don't know, roommate or something, and that's gone. But it's also one of the things that we go through as women is called menopause, which evidently for $499 or $599, you too can go online and become a menopause consultant. But
I'd rather marry people.
Yeah, really. It's these changes in life that I think our generation is finally learning that they're freeing things. They're not things that are bogging us down. They're not horrible things to look at. These are things that allow us to move on to another chapter, another act. Remember, Jane Fonda did her life in
my gosh. I mean, I was thinking of Grace and Frankie the other day, and I love that show because it really was for me an inspiration to see, this whole story of these two women who just, kind of grew together as very good friends. But like the funniness and the humor in it, and just the fact that they had each other. And I think that's the story. And you think about your own grandparents. We are so different. And that's, that's a good thing. I mean, my, I love my grandma, but she was old when she was my age. She was really old. And we're very fortunate that we don't, that we can live beyond that, and we can find new exciting things to do that make us, just continue to fulfill us and make us discover things about ourselves we may not have even known,
and keep on growing.
And
maybe
keep
not
on
height
growing.
Wise, but
or weight wise, but yeah.
To me, it's a great time of life. I celebrate every birthday. I really do.
I was like, people who for us, we should just reverse the numbers of our age, because we know each other's age. And I think I'll say I would be 27 if I could reverse the numbers of my age.
But I would be 37, and I don't want to be 37. I didn't. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I want to feel like 27, though. I think physically.
I don't know what that. I wasn't athletic or anything, so I probably feel a lot better than I did when I was 20.
Yeah, well, you make a great point there, because, who needs the Michigas? We have the wisdom now, right?
Hopefully, but in the meantime, every day is different, and maybe when I'm 90, I'll say something different, but I don't think so. I am very, very content or happy where I am. Do I want to do more? Yes. Will I do more? Who the heck knows? But what I'm doing right now, talking to you, third time, oh my word. I mean, come on. When I first met you, I was so intimidated, because you had, the job you were doing and what you did, and so on and so forth. And the background that I was given on you, it was like, oh, wow. And oh my, we're human beings, and look where we are.
I know.
You're writing a second book.
Well, and I remember you too in our first interview, and I just was so impressed with you, and how, especially since you grabbed all this podcast, kind of the podcast whole mentality before really it was out there, and you were really a visionary with that. And I remember how much more complicated it was to do an interview, because I met you down in a studio in
Shelton.
Shelton. Yeah. But you were ahead of your time there, and you've stayed with it, and you've done it for 5 years, and you've interviewed hundreds of amazing women. We talk about that anthology of the women that you've interviewed, and the different, the different achievements that they've had, and the different impacts they've had on society. It's just incredible. So I always say you're the beacon of this whole movement of women who have done so much. And it's right now we really need that, because women are going to take it a little bit, this stuff going on, and we really want to make sure that we keep women in the forefront of success.
Well, Mary, I totally agree. The first time we met, I wanted you to tell me what you would tell young girls. But now I'd like you to tell me what you would tell women around our age, or a little bit younger. What message would you like to leave them with?
Well, I think I'd like to leave them with a message that, we are the culmination, or the, we are the composite of our lives. And if we go back and look at our entire lives, there are good experiences and not so good experiences, and joyful moments and challenging moments. And if we just look at who we are now and realize that all of that has contributed to who we are today, and celebrate it, like we were talking about, celebrate it, and just, kind of pat yourself on the back and say, not too bad, honey. And just then be excited about what you can and want to do in the next year, the years ahead. just be grateful. And when when you said you didn't want to reverse your, I mean, I think that I really listened to that. And I think maybe at 27, I just didn't have the wisdom that I have now, and just value that. And it's the wisdom that comes from, Helen Reddy's song, Wisdom Born of Pain, right? It's, there's a lot we've all been through. We've given a lot, we've gotten a lot back, and just celebrate it and just be you, be the you want to be. It's a great time for that. I think right now.
Well, Mary, we are taping this, and I usually don't do this, but we're taping this just a couple of weeks before the start of the holiday season. And I intend to drop this, as I learned that, that's the speak in podcast, right before the new year starts. So I want to thank you again for doing this, because it's just been from beginning to middle to I don't know what. But thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me again today.
Oh, Sylvia, it's more than a pleasure. I can only tell you. And the best is yet to come.
Yes, it is. You can find us on all of your popular podcast platforms. And of course, our website, sylviaandme.com. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, stay tuned.